This is a Cincy fan talking with LP. You can catch me on Twitter. That's a Cincy fan talking. You say it like it sounds, just leave off the G. If you have ideas for the show, you can reach me at Cincy_fan talk at yahoo.com. If you have any suggestions for the show, make sure you leave them there. Who knows, you might find yourself as part of the show. Any feedback would be definitely appreciated. And also, make sure you hit the Linktree page that's on my Twitter. Make sure you click on that. You can find all the different ways to contact me there. Enjoy the show. And what is up, fam? It's your boy LP. Welcome to a Cincy fan talking with yours truly, LP. Appreciate y'all coming back for another week on the pod. Make sure y'all check out everything on the link tree. Of course, as I always tell y'all, make sure y'all check out everything on there. Share out everything that you possibly can. I would definitely appreciate that. All the stuff that's near and dear to me, anything that catches your eye that you want to donate to, make sure you do that. I would definitely appreciate that. Um, for this pod, this is episode number whatever. Honestly, I lose count of how many episodes I did. I mean, I just like kind of giving it to you the way I feel it. So I mean, I just like doing what I do for real. So, I mean, I just counted out after I finished, I guess, and put the number on it. I guess that's kind of strange, but that's just me for real. I mean, I just kind of like giving it to you how I feel it. So, this one gonna be mainly sports, as it probably should be, since this is mainly a sports pod. But I usually jump back and forth, But this will be mainly sports because that's what I'm feeling. It's been a lot of sports that I want to talk about, even though this pandemic is tearing up all of the sports. You know, it's cutting all through football. It's messing up college hoops, which is definitely something I care about a lot. We're gonna get into that a little bit. We're gonna talk a little bit about college football, but first we're gonna get into the Bengals. They took the L. They took a fat L to the Steelers, one of the teams that we hate losing to as Bengals fans. 36-10 L. Honestly, and I was talking about this to a couple of people on Twitter. Shout out to the Core Extra podcast. Love those guys. Love listening to their pod. Definitely check them out. You'll love them. I've shouted them out a few times. We promote them on the pod. Definitely check them out. I was kind of talking to them about what happened in the Bengals game, and for me personally, I I expected it. I I really didn't expect them to be super competitive in this game. I did like the way that the Bengals defense showed up in the first half. They did play well. That'll kind of get washed away in what happened. But I didn't expect the Bengals offense to stink up the joint the way that they did. Like I knew that the Steelers defense was really, really good, and I knew that they would get the Burrow and the Bengals. I knew that. But I didn't think the Bengals offense would play that bad, for one. And for two, I knew that at some point the Bengals defense will play poorly. And honestly, it's no offense to the Bengals defense. I was saying this on Twitter actually. A bad defense isn't a bad defense because the players are bad. When you look up and down the Bengals roster, when you look at their starting 11 defensively, not a bad group at all. You look at somebody like Jesse Bates, you look at a Carl Lawson, you look at the players that they have a solid starting 11. What makes a defense a poor defense is the depth of the defense. They don't have good backups. And 2020, when you're talking about the NFL, especially when you introduce COVID into the mix, you have to have solid depth. You have to, or you're going to have a bad defense. Offensively, it doesn't affect you as much. Defensively is where depth hurts you. And you're going to have a bad defense if you don't have a solid backup core. And what the Steelers did to the Bengals was they just picked at the third string DBs. And they just picked at that secondary. And if you're a good team, that's what you do. And they took advantage of turnovers. The Bengals defense, they hung in the first half. It should have been a blowout in the first half. But they were holding the Steelers to field goals and field goals. And you look up and it's like 19-7. The Bengals have a shot. And then the wheels fall off. Because that Bengals defense, you're not going to be able to hold the Steelers, who have a very solid wide receiver core. They really do. They have a bunch of number two receivers that can get the job done. They do. They really do. You have a Chase Claypool, you have a Juju Schuster, you have a Deontay Johnson. You have a whole lot of number two receivers that can just do work. And you're running out DBs that weren't even on the squad last week. I mean, COVID is killing the defense. Injuries are killing the defense. So when I say the Bengals have a bad defense, I'm not really picking at the defense. I'm like, these guys suck. They're trash because they're not trash. They're NFL players. Like, come on. They're not trash. They just don't have quality backups behind the starting 11. When you look at solid defenses in the NFL, you're looking at solid defenses and you're looking at solid backups to give those guys breathers. That's what's happening with the Bengals. They don't have those solid backups on defense. On offense, that's not the case, which is why the offense is strong. And basically, that's the Bengals in a nutshell. So it's an easy fix, actually. It's why I'm not really concerned about the future. You can build depth through free agency, you can build depth through the draft, you can build up depth. What you're worried about is keeping Joe Burrow healthy, and you're worried about the overall culture of the team. And to be honest, you want to make sure that what happened against the Ravens and the Steelers doesn't happen again the next time they meet. Okay, they got blown out the first two times. It happens because you're playing teams that are better than you. But the next time they meet, maybe they lose, maybe they take it on the chin. But you should see some kind of growth between the first time they played and the second time they played. Because if you don't, that's coaching. That's a coaching problem because you're playing teams in your division. These games should be close because you're playing teams in your division. These are supposed to be close games. They just are. You know that whole phrase, you're supposed to throw the record out the window because you're playing a division opponent. That's supposed to be applicable here. The first game, you're getting to know your opponent. Understandable. This shouldn't be happening over and over again. And to me, you kind of get a pass because of everything that's happening. You're losing a whole lot of depth and you have a whole lot of injuries. Okay, Zach, we get it. If this happens again and again, to me, it's problematic and it's indicative of coaching. So that's where I'm coming from with this whole thing. But am I surprised at what happened? Eh, not really. If this happens next week against a team like Washington, no, definitely a problem because the Bengals have held their own against any team not named the Ravens or the Steelers. So we should see the Bengals come back to what they have been against a team like the Washington football team. So that's what I'm looking for. This is what we should see. Um, Kind of looking forward to see the bounce back. It'll be really good to see Joe Burrow bounce back. It'll be good to see the offense bounce back. Um, Speaking of football, let's jump in. Let's jump in some college stuff real fast. Let's jump into that. Um, the Cincinnati Bearcats. You know they're making some noise out here in Cincinnati as well, and the fake punt heard around Cincinnati kind of sort of happened. They were blowing out East Carolina, and they decided to do a fake punt. You know, to make absolutely sure that they blew out their opponent. And to me personally, and this is just how I feel about it. Um, Two things. Um, I don't know if I saw this as necessarily classless. It's not something I would have done as a coach. I mean, it just shows me that the college football playoff system is broken. You feel like you have to do this to a team you're beaten by 30, 40 points to prove to a system that you're good enough. That makes absolutely no sense. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Padding your lead against a team that's 1-4, 1-5, how is this proving that you're better? Like, as a coach, you got to kind of think to yourself, putting up another 7 or 8 points against this team, it really isn't going to make much of a difference. Now, doing this next week against a team like Central Florida, big difference. It shows that the whole college football playoff system is broken. It sounds more like the BCS than the college football playoff to me. On the flip side, if I'm East Carolina, I'm not really too upset because it's not really on me to control what this team does. It's on me to stop this team from scoring. If they want to do a fake punt, that's on them. If they want to look a certain way, if they feel like they have to do a fake punt, even though they're beating us by some odd points, that's what they have to deal with after the game. That's on them. It's our job to stop them. When I was coaching junior high, and I've told this story on the pod once before. Well, not this exact story, but I've talked about this team. I've never learned more about myself than when I was coaching this team when we went 2-10, and we got beat pretty much by every junior high team in the Cincinnati area. It was a dark, dark winter for my boys. Like, it was bad. And there would be some games where we were losing by about 30 points. And we we really got to understand the humanity of some coaches. There were some coaches that would literally take out all of their first and second stringers and put in their third stringers. And we would be playing their third stringers for like large parts of the game. And I didn't feel like we had like a horrible squad, but we were down to like 6 players sometimes. I mean, it was just bad because people were like quitting left and right. And the third stringers, they would get beat by our boys because we had the first stringers out. But those coaches, they were kind of like, we're going to win this game handily. They didn't really care how it looked. They were kind of like, we're going to get our third stringer some run because we've proved that our team is better. And we're like, okay, you do what you have to do. We were also in some games where we were down 30, and the other coach decided to leave his first stringers in and put us down by like 50. And my boys are looking at me like, Coach Parker, like, what's going on? And I'm looking at them like, why are you looking at me? Keep playing. And I just let them know, like, we cannot control what the other team does. It doesn't matter. There's no sense looking sad about it. We're out here to play. They're out here to play. And we're not going to worry about what the other coach does. Like, it doesn't matter. We're just going to play our game. They're going to play their game. And we're just going to do the best we can to stop them and score points. Simple as that. And I feel like as you get older, you start to understand that some coaches have an agenda to win and some coaches have an agenda to teach. And that struggle to do both really plays with the coach because as you get higher and higher in the ranks, people just want you to win. People don't really want you to teach. People don't want you to make your kids better. They say that they do. They say really cool things like, hey, we're all about uplifting and, we want to make things great and we want to put great people in the community. And that's all well and good. But fans care about you winning. That's what a lot of fans care about. And as you get higher and higher up the ranks, there's this constant pull between I want to make my kids better human beings and I want to win. Fans care about one more than the other. Fans act like they don't, but they do. Most fans want to win. And as we've seen in our culture, they'll gladly sacrifice one for the other. Just think about who fans root for on a regular basis. They hate players who do certain things until they're wearing their team's uniform. Craziest thing ever. Like it's absolutely wild. And you just kind of go like, I mean, they could keep doing this. These players can keep doing the same thing that they've been doing. They'll just do it over and over again. There's like no repentance. There's no change in their behavior. Some players make mistakes and they'll admit to those mistakes and they'll change themselves around because everybody makes mistakes. People do dumb shit. Some players make the same mistake over and over and over and over again until you realize, hey, dude's not making a mistake. This is who dude is. But he has a talent. So fans are willing to look over that because he has a talent. And being a junior high coach, I noticed that people prep these little guys for that at a very young age. Like they enable these little guys and these little girls sometimes at a very young age. And I just kind of look like that's crazy. And I learned this from going 2-10. Like I had to learn, like, look, it's cool for us to win. Like it would be great if we could win every game. But we won't. Because a lot of teams in this league are better than us. So I had to realize like we're gonna take our lumps and I'm just gonna have to make us better in other ways so next year we can be better basketball players. And maybe the coach from East Carolina is doing that. And maybe the Cincinnati coach, maybe Luke Fickle had his own thing in mind. Because I feel like he really has a struggle between he doesn't want to run up the score, but the college football play up is so jacked up against them. Like it really is. It's like no matter what they do, they're gonna be on the outside looking in unless Ohio State loses twice and Alabama loses twice and Clemson loses twice and Notre Dame loses twice. So there's no margin for error. And anything that he does or doesn't do is going to be used against him. It's like you played East Carolina, but you only won by 25. You should have won that game by 34. You got the ball and it's 4th and 6. Do you punt the ball or do you do a fake punt? It's a struggle. Like he decided to do a fake punt. I don't think that makes him a horrible human being. Like I don't think it does. I think it exposes the fact that the college football playoff system is screwed up. I think it also exposes the fact that you got to be able to stop that if you're East Carolina. Did he have to do a fake punt? No, he really didn't. He could have decided to have his players punt the ball and then stop them on defense. They could have did that. The fact that this was even a thought is the problem. I mean, that really is the problem. The fact that that was even contemplated. I mean, UC is one of the best 5-6 teams in the country. They should be taking the best 8 teams. There shouldn't be 4 teams. I mean, kind of a monopoly here. And when the odds are against you, you have to do certain things to tilt those odds. And it's not fair and it's not right. Sometimes it just is. So that struggle is real. And until things get fixed, we're gonna see things like this happen. And it's gonna happen in a group of 5. You're gonna see teams like BYU doing this. You're gonna see teams definitely in the American Conference because there's always a team or two in the American that's good enough to crack that bubble, but it's always tilted towards the quote unquote Power Five. It's always going to be tilted towards those guys. So we're going to see this until they open it up more. And then people are going to talk about the slippery slope. Well, if you let in 8, why can't you let in 12? If you let in 12, why can't you let in 16? Pretty much excuses to leave things the way that they are. They're all excuses. I mean, if this pandemic hasn't shown us anything, it's shown us this. If you want something to happen, you can make it happen. I mean, you really can. Like if you want it to be a certain way, you can make it a certain way, and you can make it a certain way fairly quickly. So either make it happen or keep having discussions like this. So that's what it'll be. You got a Cincy fan talking with LP. We'll be right back. And welcome back to a Cincy fan talking with LP. Of course, you got LP. Thanks for sticking through. Thanks for coming back. Gonna hit y'all with a couple of quick things before we head out of here. A couple of things I've been thinking about. Heard that the NCAA tournament on the March Madness. Heard that all 68 teams they're thinking about having them in one city. And Indianapolis would be that city. So come March, all 68 teams will be in Indy, and like 8 venues. I feel like it's a good and bad idea, and and this is weird. I feel like it's a good idea and a bad idea for the exact same reason, and that's super weird. This might change depending on what the coronavirus looks like come March, but right now, it's a really good idea because they picked Indianapolis, and it's a really bad idea because they picked Indianapolis. So that's weird, and I'm gonna go ahead and explain this. Um, I'm gonna pick the bad news first because in class, every time I tell them I got good news and bad news, they always want to hear the bad news first. I guess to make them feel better when they hear the good news. So that's them. I'm gonna go with that. Um, I think it's a bad idea because us being in the Cincinnati area, this is tri-state, so we kind of hear about Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana, and Indiana cases are skyrocketing. Like it's bad all around here. So the Indiana area all around there is not looking too good as far as COVID. And the last thing you want to do is put it in an area to where you might end up with a whole lot of cancellations. That's worrisome. I mean, to me that might be a little bit problematic. I think, sticking 68 different teams in one spot. And you got them in different parts, of course, of the city, but at the same time, if you already got them in a place where cases are skyrocketing, this can't be good. That's really the one thing that stuck out to me that would make it bad. But the good thing that stuck out for me is the fact that it's Indianapolis. I mean, you got the headquarters there. Indianapolis, they've hosted the Final Four so many times. I mean, this is a city that knows how to do it. And on top of that, we talking basketball central, like all of Indiana. We talking high school gyms that are rivaling college gyms. So there are definitely enough places to do 8 different sites in and around Indianapolis. So that won't even be a problem. And on top of that, the fact that it's been done basketball wise, like the bubble concept has worked for basketball. Not only the NBA. Think all the way back to the TBT. They did it first and they did it well. Like they were really, really smart in the way they did it. Think all the way back to the TBT. They had 32 teams. They usually do 64. They cut it to 32 and then they had backup teams. So if a team tested positive, that entire team had to excuse themselves from the tournament and then they had a backup team that was ready to take their place. They made it so that the entire team had to quarantine for 14 days before they could even step foot into the bubble. They really showed a lot of different leagues how to do it. And I don't think the TBT will get enough credit for what they did in setting the tone for other places, for other leagues to get the job done. So, I mean, for real, shout out to the TBT because they did a really good job. So, I think if the NCAA follows that model, they can do a really good job in a city like Indianapolis because they'll have people spread out in 8 different venues anyway. Um, I think they might have to cut the field though, and unless they decide to do it the way they normally do it, to have 8 different gyms, you know, 8 different gyms, and then put all of those teams in those gyms, and then bring them together and then use 4 different gyms for the regional sites, that might work best. But if they try to like cram them all in like one gym and have them like rolling through, you got to cut the field. So, but that's money that they're losing. So I doubt if they want to lose money like that. But there is a template for them doing it right. The only thing that concerns me is the city that they chose. But because of the city that they chose, it might work out. Me personally, you might want to choose a city that can do it well and that has a lower positivity rate. I mean, that might be a better move. Hmm, that's just me. But Indianapolis is a really good host, so we'll see what happens with that. Um, and my second thing, um, that the PS5 dropped. Um, really excited about it. Didn't get one. Probably won't get one for a while. I'm gonna go ahead and hold off on that. I feel like I had an opportunity to grab one. Um, I I saw one or two that I could have thrown in my cart and snatched it up real fast, but I just kind of held off. I was looking at some of the games, and as I looked at them, I'm like, it looks like an upgrade, but at the same time, there just aren't enough games to justify me dropping this much money on something where it feels like I'm just gonna be playing a whole lot of PS4 games for a long time until they drop more PS5 games. I mean, that's what it feels like for me. It feels like I'll be buying the PS5 to play a whole lot of PS4 games plus 2K21. And honestly, I'm just having a whole lot of fun playing 2K21 on the PS4. I mean, I'll just do that until there are more games to play on the PS5. That just feels like it makes more sense for me. And plus, honestly, with all the stuff that tends to happen with the first batch of the next generation PS5s and Xboxes, I'll just kind of sit this out and wait till all the glitches get fixed on these because I mean they're bound to pop up. I mean, if you're a gamer for as long as I've been a gamer, and for all you gamers out there, you kind of understand what happens. There'll be glitches with the first batch, even if they're not glitches with the first batch. After a while, they'll drop a sleeker version of the new generation, and people want to ditch their old one to get that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sit this out, wait to see what happens next. I don't really think it hurts to wait 4 or 5 months. Honestly, I never really bought the next generation of anything when it first came out. I mean, that's never really been my style. So I was about to buck the trend and do it first, just because I could, just to say that I could. But I let the YouTubers and all that do it. I just kind of sit this one out and wait it out. Um, if you did buy the PS5, especially if you bought 2K21, let me know what it's looking like, and let me know if you like it. Let me know if you hate it. Let me know if it's kind of glitchy. Just hit me up on Twitter. Let me know if you're feeling it. Just tell me what you like about it the most. Um, tell me what you're thinking. But other than that, we're gonna go ahead and ride out for this episode. As always, it's been real. You know when to catch me. If you don't, um, every Tuesday, we dropping an episode. So make sure you glued to the Twitter for the drop. Catch me on that. Always ready to interact. So if you hear something, if you want to chat it up, just make sure you catch me on Twitter. That's at a Cincy fan talking. Leave the G off. Hit you up on there. As always, life is good. Holla at you. Peace out. If you're not ready for the conversation to end, I'm not either. Make sure to catch me on Twitter. That's the Cincy fan talking. Leave off the G at the end of it, and we can keep the conversation going. Also, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button so you can catch the next episodes. The episodes will drop every Tuesday. If there's a change in that, I'll make sure to let you know. Appreciate the support. As always, life is good.